All right, very good. Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, August the 28th at 4:30, and this is calling the Bastrop Economic Development Corporation to meeting, and so we're calling it to order. Let's start off with any public comments. Angela, do we have any public comments?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, moving into regular business and presentations, 3.a. Approval of the meeting minutes from the joint city council meeting and regular BEDC board meeting on July 24th, 2023. I'll need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. It passes. Thank you. Motion passes. 3B, receive the financial report provided by the City of Bastrop's Chief Financial Officer for the period ending July 2023, and any comments?
Board, please welcome Laura Allen. I don't know how many of you know, but our Chief Financial Officer, Tracy Waldron, left us for greener pastures in Pflugerville. We're calling her a quitter, and we know she'll be back. Laura's a great pinch hitter and will do an awesome job.
Good evening. For those of you I have not had the opportunity to meet yet, I'm Laura Allen, and I'm here to present you the unaudited financial reports for EDC for period ending July 31st. Do we have Is it on? Can you hear me? Okay. This is a summary of revenue and expenditures as of July 31st, highlighting that for July, EDC received a revenue of $412,025 with expenditures of $229,076. There is an increase of expenditures from the prior month. This is due to the bond payments.
2 or 229? 292, right?
292.
Okay.
Here is a summary of the sales tax revenue received in July. It is actually pretty close to forecast. We forecasted $357,536, and EDC actually received $367,411. So we're pretty close to projections. And here is a breakout of expenditures by category. EDC has a positive forecast of actuals at 30%. And here is a summary of capital project outlays for expenditures on Jackson Street Extension, as well as expenditures for the Business Industrial Park out of the 2013 Series CO. This is basically an income statement with working capital as of 2002, adding in revenues and budgeted expenditures, leaving a projected working capital balance as of 9/30/2023 for $4,127,643. And that also includes a 25% operating reserve. This is a summary of the debt obligation as of 9/30/2022. Y'all will get an updated one next month with these numbers. Any questions?
No. Thank you very much. I don't have any questions. Does anybody here? All right. Well, thank you very much and welcome aboard. All right. We'll move on to 3C, discussion and possible action regarding the professional services agreement with Doucette Associates for the Southern Jackson Extension project.
I apologize, that slide isn't showing. Isn't showing the correct information. So I do. Your package is correct. Let me send this over to Colin, over to Rick so he can upload it. 1 second. Okay, I just sent it to you, Rick. So while Rick's uploading that, the PowerPoint presentation that you have in front of you is correct. I highlighted some items that I am concerned regarding the Doucette contract. I will let the board know that I did meet with the principal at Doucette. We did work out some items moving forward, but I needed to let the board know where we stand with this contract because this is a pretty significant contract. As you know, the board approved the contract in August of 2022, way before Sylvia. I need to caveat that before Sylvia. It was for $1.618403, $1.6 million. And it was a time and materials contract, meaning as they work, they are billing. So we had 30% conceptual submitted in August, this month. So 30% conceptual. Over to the right hand are tasks that are associated in that contract. So task 1 is project management. There's been some shifting and some changing at the EDC and also at the city. So all I'm asking for is a consistent reporting and how that report is done, because I feel we are a year into the project and we're sort of running into quicksand is what it feels like. Task number 2 is conceptual road design, and it's 30% design is what's in the contract. And, sorry, I Teamsed it to you, Rick. Teamsed it to you. Do you want me to email it to you? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So conceptual road design is at 30%. That's what the contract states. That's what they're supposed to provide to us. And so I'm concerned that that may not give us a sufficient opinion of probable cost. And I compare it to the school district and other large projects. You get a pretty picture and you go, oh yeah, this is what we want. We all agreed that's what we want, until the real numbers come in. Subsurface utility engineering is over in task 5. Probably should have been moved up closer, but again, working through that with Doucette. Some of the contract specifics are vague. The geotechnical, for example, it says borings will be taken. There's no boring map. There's just some pretty specific information that's missing that gives our city engineer not a warm and fuzzy and gives us some concern over the contract. And then task 7 is the final design. The plat, I felt like, continued to be in flux, and so I'm worried about cost increases. This contract has a lot of money in it, but that doesn't mean we should keep sort of moving the end goal.
Let me ask a quick question here. In the contract, since I don't have it in front of me here, were every one of these tasks 1 through 7, did they have dates of completion? When I say completion, do they have dates associated of when they would be ready, when they would have it completed at whatever we agreed to on a percentage basis?
No. It has reporting, so there's reporting pieces that are made every single month, quarter to the members, but before it was being reported to EDC. Jean is the person who signed this original contract. The city came in sort of after the fact, very similar to CIP projects at the school or any non-city partner, where the devil is in the details, and by the time the city gets into the details, we become the devil. And that's where we are today. And I say that with just as much angst in my heart as I mean to, because that's normally what happens agencies, entities, they get a very pretty picture of what's going to happen until we get into the super details of the item.
So if you're considering yourself the devil, and forgive me here, but do you think it's the city's issue of not being more completed, or is it Doucette not putting the emphasis and the focus on this project?
I think it's a function of the contract being particularly vague as written. And this is not just this city, this is pretty much every city I've ever worked with. Any high school, any school project, by the time it comes to us, conceptuals have been provided to owners and agents, and when it's time to put the pencil and a budget together, we're sort of out of budget. And that continues to be of concern for this particular contract. I did have Doucette sharpen their pencil. I did let him know we were going to, sort of put this back on track, and we needed to get to a completion point with a sharper pencil than we had starting.
Okay. Do you feel that you're getting the focus and attention from Doucette on this project?
I do now, yes.
Okay. So hopefully we will be talking about this every meeting going forward, so we stay on top of this thing, right?
That's a good
it seems to
idea.
me any construction project needs to have somebody overseeing it, so I'm hoping that they're taking a little bit more focused approach, and I guess if you're saying the city has some culpability, then maybe we need to look at that as well.
I do, and I'll just from the onset, at their first submittal, they submitted into MyGov, and I think I mentioned, we sort of looked at it and said, this is pretty much a stick figure drawing. And we met with them, and they said, well, sure, because we didn't really know what to submit. And so we wanted a design by review, which is at this level not common. It's typical at the mom and pop level where folks don't understand where we are. So we did some hand holding. I think we're back on track, and I'm hopeful that we get this to completion, at least to a design, and can get to an opinion of probable cost.
So I had the same question. As I was reading through it, I couldn't find a timeline for completion, so my question was along the scope of his. But now my question is, so for future reference, should there be a timeline for completion? Because it was worded, the way it was worded in the agreement was shall remain in effect until satisfactory completion of the scope of work. So should that not be a statement in future contracts? It should be within X amount of time, or completion date this amount of time, or what have you?
What I would like moving forward, because these projects, obviously EDC is never going to engage an engineer on staff, or at least shouldn't. And so when we get to this level of project, they'd be turned over as a capital project to the city. The city has standard contracts that have absolutely every itemized detail, to the point that some private engineers, when they come in to do business with the city, say, no thanks, we never give our clients that level of detail. Alton's engineer for the movie studio, for example, his on-site engineer, we're hoping will take on the off-site engineering because they're familiar with the project, they can move it a rate faster. When we presented the city contract, he said, yeah, nope, this is why I don't do municipal work. But because we do get to the line item detail, because we need to protect the taxpayer, right? We need to make sure that the deliverable is complete. When you read the contract and you say, it'll be done when it's done, essentially, things get more expensive as we go.
Right.
Just 2 years makes an enormous amount of difference. So moving forward, my goal is to put a Doucette update in your weekly report every 2 weeks.
And moving forward with other agreements, we'll have a deadline or a date.
A standard
Time
city
frame.
contract.
Right. And then I was just wondering, after they are done, then this is just the concept, right? For concept design for the roadways and the wastewater, right?
Correct.
Water and wastewater. So after this is done and they do finally get us a final draft, what's the process after? Then do we go out for a bid to actually do the work? What's
Yes.
okay.
We'll
that's
put
what
it
I
out
was
for bid. So when they get to final design, they'll submit it like anybody else. The city will review it, and hopefully there's not significant changes or major things we missed, like line sizing or anything like that. Once it's good, we put it out on CivCast and we put it out for bid. We, take sealed bids, and we take the lowest or the best bid to complete the project.
Great. Thank you.
City Manager, since there appears to be some issues and you've already met with them, what's to keep us from moving them to a standard CIP project contract right now?
That's where we're heading. That is.
So why don't we just say that out loud and say that's what we want to do?
Well, this point moving forward or at this point to design?
This point moving forward.
So Fabiola is now handling the contract. They're
No,
being.
I'm saying move Doucette to a CIP contract, to a standard contract. They're not, if we're having issues with this, and it's easier if it's on a standard contract, why don't we just negotiate to a standard contract?
I can do that. I have not had that discussion with Doucette.
Would that solve some of your problems?
That would solve some problems to the level of detail for which we need accountability.
Do we need to do anything as a board to make that happen? Or can we just request that you start on that? Looking for a legal opinion here.
So I have not had this discussion with Sylvia, so I wasn't aware of the issues that she's having here with Doucette. So we would need to amend the agreement that they have to bring it in line with whatever it is that she's wanting, the level of detail. So we just have to have that conversation. But as far as what you need to do as a board, I don't think you don't have anything in front of you to take action on. So we would work with Sylvia to make that happen. So
Okay. I just didn't know if we needed some kind of a.
once we would have to bring that back to you. So if there's significant changes, once those are negotiated with Doucette, it would come back for your approval at that time.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Great idea. Anything else?
No, other than I'm sorry. This was a year ago, and things have changed so dramatically in just 1 year. But
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on then to, unless there's any other questions, we'll go ahead and move on to 3.d, the update on BEDC funding commitments.
That's also in your PowerPoint package. Sorry, it's hard to read. So TA Adhesives, there is an update since even this was printed. We're working with staff. They did submit. They are in near phases of completion on their building permit. They've paid their impact fees this last week, so they are moving quickly. Fiesta, again, still in the process of updating their performance agreement to include 2 buildings into one and include some classroom space into that performance agreement. Mocha Ventures did finally send their preliminary drainage plan. It is set for review this week in the Development Review Committee, but that is just a preliminary drainage. Again, with this one, I was hoping that we would have been at final drainage and completion. The pre-bid meeting that Doucette worked on with Bastrop Financial Way, that one, we have bid opening on September the 5th. So the city and the EDC continue with our commitments to complete those items. Third arrow, we will talk about in executive session as per the board direction. I've given you an update on Financial Way. The Jackson Extension engineering is approaching 30%. Geotechnical is complete, and Blakey Lane is in engineering. And although there will probably need to be some alignment to Blakey Lane, and that is simply from a right-of-way acquisition standpoint, the way Blakey Lane is drawn out today, we would need to wipe out the daycare and some property owners. So we're trying to create a better alignment with the Duff property to the north. And then the MLK technology, there's discussion with the county, as I mentioned before, getting that property back to EDC hands and making a determination about the viability of that project.
Will that be on a future agenda? Are we expecting?
Yes, I'm meeting with the
I thought we-
county. I'm meeting with the county this week.
Okay.
The county is going through a facilities master plan, and this is one of the properties that is listed in their inventory.
Any other questions from any board members? Okay. With that, we will move on to Section 4 of the executive session. 4.a, the Bastrop EDC Board of Directors will meet in a closed executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, to discuss the following. 1, Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations on Project Triple Arrow, Project Electric Line, and Project RLF 23.1. After which the EDC will reconvene into open session to discuss, consider, and or take any action necessary related to the executive session noted herein. It is 4:51. Okay, it is now 5:42, and the BEDC Board of Directors will reconvene into open session to discuss, consider, and or take any action necessary related to the executive session noted herein. I believe that our only action is that the board's going to recommend that the city manager complete the negotiations with Triple Arrow, since we're so close to getting this thing completed. There's only some minor tweaks that need to be done. So we would like for you to go ahead and complete that negotiation and bring it back to us for review on the next meeting. Is that correct? All right. And we need a motion to close. All right. Looking for a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We are adjourned. Thank you all.